This is August 18th, 2025. This is Brennan Ames interviewing Jay Schellen. Jay, how are you?
Great. Good to see you, Brennan.
Good to see you
Thanks for
too.
having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Yes is coming to Omaha in part of its Fragile tour. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we're looking forward to it. That's the first thing. It's going to be an exciting tour. In some ways unique for me because we're playing all of Fragile. So there's several songs that I haven't played, and it's going to be really unique to do it because that record was the first one that really I got introduced to Yes and certainly sucked into the whole thing. Um, I was really jazz oriented. Most of my influences were jazz players like Jack DeJohnette, Tony Williams, uh, Art Blakey, and Dave Tuff. Even these guys that my dad was introducing me to, and then of course there were some pop artists as well that I was enjoying. But when Fragile came out, that really captured my imagination. I mean, it was just really, really had all those things to it. Really, just amazing. So that's what's going to be special to me because there's some really challenging pieces that we've done before. We have Heart of the Sunrise, and of course Roundabout, um, and South Side of the Sky. But in the context of a record and doing them all together, the additions of Long Distance, 5% for Nothing, right? And hearing Cons and Brahms, so it's going to be like a record playing out. So that's a slightly different context. And to me, that's what's exciting is like making this just sound like you close your eyes and it's that first time you put the record on.
Yeah,
So
the last time Yes played Fragile in full was the last show that Allan did before you joined, which was June
mhm.
1st, 2016 in Rome. So has it been difficult learning stuff like, 5% for nothing, stuff like that?
No, not at all, because as I was saying, my background, my first instrument was piano, like Alan,
Mhm.
but it was very jazz oriented. So coordinations and the use of compound stickings and things like that were it's very, very natural. It's part of my thing. So listening to Bill and understanding him, there's a bit of a deep dive into listening carefully because the production of those records, Eddie offers the way that he would get Bill's drums out front, but they're not being hit hard, you
Mhm.
know? So it's really nuanced, but it's right in your face, right? So that's a challenge right there to see if you can get that sound without rim shotting it and just getting the drum so it's very articulate, but still right there. Um, so no, 5% for nothing, actually. It's I just love the kind of tongue in cheek, the name of the song,
Yeah.
you know, and the fact that in my mind, it puts more pressure on the other members than it does the drummer
Yeah.
because it's really a pattern that is just repeating,
Hmm.
right? And it's very odd because it would seem it's basically triplet patterns in the hand, but it's played within 16th notes, so it's rotating through a count. Um, and then it puts the pressure on each musician is picking a different place to be, right? The bass will rotate between being up on the snare in the part of the triplet or then rotating that the bass is on the kick drum at the other point of the triplet. So in my mind, I got the easy part. I just have
Yeah.
to play the pattern. So it's going to be a lot of fun, no doubt about it. But South Side of the Sky, I'm looking forward to that because that's another one of those Bill Bruford, very nuanced
Hmm.
things. It requires you to really focus. There's a lot of focus involved, which is very nice. But then again, I love to just release these songs and just bash it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Yes music, and since I've known it for so long and so well and played with so many members individually over the years, they play like songs, even as complex as they may be.
Hmm.
You can just relax into them, and then they just play out as like songs. You know, it's a beautiful thing about the music.
Yeah. What would you say has been the most complex pieces of music to play in Yes?
Gates of Delirium,
Hmm.
and we were just getting to the point of doing the entire record.
Yeah.
So Sound Chaser, right? I
And To
called
Be
Allan.
Over.
Yes, you know what? You're absolutely right. That is a beautiful piece of music, and it's more complex than you think.
Yeah.
There's some very, very cool parts in that. But in Sound Chaser, I called Allan several times just to cuss him out a little bit. Dude, your hands are so fast in this, you know. He was mainly a single stroke, not really compound stickings.
Hmm.
He was so fast, and he just had the most beautiful roll to his 30-second notes and his triplets. It was just, I loved it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was my guy. That was
Yeah.
that was the thing. Is Yes was on my radar completely, and then Yes songs came out. Boom, right? Whoa, what's this? Allan was on my radar. Let me get this thing out of the way. Oh, there we go. Hang on. There you are. There you are. Allan was on my radar from Instant Karma
Hmm.
because that really blew my mind. Actually, that track, it stopped me dead in my tracks, and unfortunately, it's not something I could just go, "Wow, let me hear that again."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just went by on the radio, and then I just prayed I was going to hear that again. You know, and I did, and it's always had the same effect on me. And during my years of knowing Allan, and then becoming, fortunate enough to work with him,
Hmm.
day to day, and just really become close. He clued me in on that whole session, which was instant karma. That was a phone call, a car ride, a drum track, and then the next morning it was like released practically,
Yeah.
right? That was so. He was in the middle of experimenting, and this would give a little insight into Allan with playing fills that don't match the groove, or grooves that don't match the fills, and vice versa, right? So it's a swing groove in instant karma, right? Shoot the
Yeah.
da the deuce the da the do the da. But when it came to those iconic fills, he played against it all. Right? Amazing. But that's what it was. So immediately I was like sold on his creativity. It was just insane. And of course, we'll probably get around to a favorite record at some point. But as far as complexities, yes, Sound Chaser,
Hmm.
Relayer, um, I think those pretty much cover it.
Yeah.
I
Was
think
Tails hard to learn?
no, because I was playing to Tails since I was 12 years old, right? I mean, I remember going in my den after getting back from school, and I had a little record player behind me, and I'd get everything ready, and then I'd say, Allan White can't play the show tonight. Does anyone out there know how to play this? Right? And I go, I do. And then I'd reach back and drop the needle on the record, and I would play this. I mean, talk about thinking, you know what I mean? Putting
Yeah.
yourself in there. So when I got a call, I was doing a show, which, boy, I think has now enjoyed its almost 10 years run, Raiding the Rock Vault,
Yeah.
which was a great show. And so I was in the middle of doing that. And Billy, and well, first it was just a call from Billy, just kind of like a prod. And then I got the call, and Allan called me up and basically, just said he was having some issues with his back. And could I come in and, do this? And I said, I'd love to. What's this? What are the tracks, right? And he goes, well, that's the thing. It's topographic and drama, right? And I said, okay, topographic, no problem. That one's good. I said, drama is going to be, that's quite a challenge because, boy,
Yeah.
you guys were on fire, on fire. And then I said, so when is this coming about? And he says, well, you'll have to leave in 2 days. And then we ended up having about, oh, somewhere between 5, 6 full days of rehearsal
Hmm.
to do that
Wow.
deal. That was intense. That was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. That was a lot of fun. So uh, topographics always held a very uh, important place in my heart, really. The creativity on that, I think, is amazing. But also the fact that for topographic and relayer, I was reading all of the Tolkien books, The
Hmm.
Hobbit, The Two Towers, the whole thing, with those records playing in the background.
Wow.
And amazingly enough, they sync up perfectly. The marching, the aggressive drums, the smooth stuff. I mean, just the atmospherics of both those records. So that was my world, like really, for almost a year. Just so topographic was relatively easy to just do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's some of the most special moments I think I've had since playing with Steve and Jeff again, and Billy, of course, again, and John, was those songs the first night after all this rehearsal, whatever. The first night, ignore that. I thought I shut that off. That's our alarm girl talking to me.
Oh.
That first performance in a big, auditorium room, right?
Hmm.
It was insane. It was like an otherworldly, just ascension moment. That music really coming out. Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow. Whose idea was it to make Tales into a medley when you guys did that
Um,
two tours?
well, it's extremely difficult to do all four sides, which we wanted to
Yeah.
do. So the idea was Steve's,
Mm.
and he worked really hard on that to put that so that we're getting all sides.
Yeah.
Um, that was a bit challenging to get those segues,
Yeah.
to work. Um, but it's still, is a lot of fun to play because we are getting those. There's certain areas of the remembering and the ancient that,
Yeah.
oh, I love them so much. And then boom, there they are. We've got them in there. So that was a lot of fun.
What would you say are your favorite Yes albums?
Uh, Topographic. Um, the Yes album, Relayer. This is a tough one to
Yeah.
do for me. You know what I mean? Because I mean, immediately I could just go through the list and go, no, it's that one. No, it's this one. No, it's that one. Um, but I already explained why topographic is like really important to me.
Mm.
Relayer falls into that as well, pretty much. But Yes songs had the transformative effect on me, but
Yeah.
Fragile got me into it, and the Yes album got me into it. Um, and so I was a serious, super fan. I mean, I had all the solo records, the whole business. Badger, so I was very familiar
Oh
with
yeah, I
all the
love
tone.
Tony K.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a mind blower thing that when I first came to Los Angeles,
Hmm.
he was producing the first recording project that I got asked to come out and play.
Yeah.
And within after about 3 hours of rehearsal, he said, I understand you're a tennis player. And I said, yeah, I am. And we just went off and started playing tennis, and we've played tournaments together and all this different stuff. And he's one of my greatest friends, and it's been 40 years, over
Wow.
40 years. Yeah, yeah.
Having played with Peter Banks, how would you
Mm,
rank the first two Yes albums?
fantastic. And Peter's influence is it's right there, man.
Hmm.
It's right there. It really is. He was, oh my gosh. I mean, it would be like in these days, you might even think of crossing like somebody like Pat Metheny or Jan Ackerman with Pete Townsend,
Yeah.
right? That was Peter. He would explode sometimes, just explode in frantic energy, just this thing. But we were doing a lot of Miles Davis and
Mhm.
different renditions that we'd come up with ourselves. We had a sax player in the group and the whole business, and it was really nice. Yeah, he was
How did
wonderful to
you
play with.
how did you first get into music? This is going back to the start of your career.
Well, first it was on piano. My dad was a pianist. He played ragtime piano and classical guitar and all of that. And so I had piano lessons. And probably in my third or fourth year of piano lessons, to get to my piano teacher, I had to walk through a drum shop.
Hmm.
And that was the slowest walk I I would do. And my teacher just over and over again would have to come get me, right? What are you doing in here? Come on, we got a lesson to do. It's like, I can't, oh man, I just can't leave this place. And the owner of that shop, Nick Lucchetti, this was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He saw this every week. And finally, when after my lesson, I was hanging out in the shop, my mom came to pick me up and he kind of pulled her aside and said, there's something going on here, you know? So that was when finally I could take advantage of what I was feeling. And it just took off from there. I mean, I studied hard. And when I was in grade school, I had all my rudiments down, everything. I'd get all the solos in the band.
Hmm.
I did, however, get kicked out once because I was starting to work on military drumline spinning tricks,
Hmm.
the tuck and the whole thing. So I would work that into my solo, knocking them in the air and that kind of stuff. No, they didn't go for that. So, and then that's when I thought maybe I should be a rock drummer.
At what age were you first introduced to Yes music, and how long had you been playing at that point?
Okay, let's see. I started playing drums at about 9 years old. Um, and that would have been 69.
Hmm.
So I believe it's closer to the Yes album, right?
71.
Yeah, it'd be about 71. And that's when I started hearing it. And of course, um, that drew me in. And it
Hmm.
was part of my record collection. You know what I mean? Boom, there it is. You know, there's Return to Forever, Mahavishnu, the Yes, all that. And then Fragile. Yeah.
Yeah.
From then on, and then, like I said, when Yes songs happened and Allan, my instant karma guy, was in
Yeah.
there, I couldn't even believe it. That was like, wow, there you go.
When did you see Yes for the first time play?
It was close to the edge.
So the first
Yeah.
tour with Allan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think, they were with Poco. Um, that's an interesting thing to actually, because for some reason in the back of my mind, because Bill, I thought, did a few dates of Close to the Edge. And for some reason, I'm going to have to ask Steve about that
Hmm.
because he remembers when Poco, because they only opened for just a few shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, Bill actually left Yes before they could do any of the Close to the Edge stuff live.
okay, well then it was Allan.
Yeah.
It was Allan. They all set up on the floor though, so it was
Oh,
very. It wasn't you know a big built up thing. Basically, they were all on the floor with these lighted orbs, and then the whole stage was just full of smoke
wow.
on the floor. So it was simple, but it was really effective for that album. And it was green. It was lit with green.
Yeah, for
So
Close to the Edge.
it really did the album cover really nicely. You know, it was really nice.
What other bands were you listening to other than Yes at the time when you were first getting into music?
Well, my dad introduced me early on to a lot of different stuff. I mean, he was playing a lot of jazz records. He was playing some country records and stuff. There was Chet Atkins going on. Um, I was listening to the Buddy Rich Orchestra.
Hmm.
Um, Also, Louis Bellson's band. I loved Louis Bellson. He was so good.
Yeah,
But then also, I would go Jack DeJohnette, the trio works, Tony Williams, and all of that, and Lifetime. Uh, but then I started to really latch on to Return to Forever, the Mahavishnu Orchestra. Um, I really loved Al Di Meola, just the preciseness of the rhythms. I mean, boy, it's like a meditation experiment. I mean, you just go right in there. Um, well, there's a lot that I'm missing, I'm sure. I love Brand X, Genesis
yeah.
a lot. You know, Gentle Giant.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I went into some very odd places with progressive stuff. Um, and rock and roll, I mean, as soon as
yeah,
there was a few people that I really, drummers and bands that I really loved during all that time of this jazz and progressive stuff. Um, I love Nigel Olsson with Elton John's
and
band.
he was with Uriah Heep for just a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, Nigel Olsson did?
Nigel,
No way.
I think it was
Oh,
on either the first or the second album.
because Kerslake, I thought was because we did when I was in Asia, we did a tour with Uriah.
Oh wow,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so then also, I really loved Floyd Sneed with
mm,
um, Three Dog Night,
yeah,
which that was a funny story. I mean, I'll throw this in. You can clip if you want or whatever. But when I was about 18, so I was playing a show with Al Wilson. He's
mm,
a big soul singer. He had that hit "Show and Tell," just a game I play. Um, and we were opening for the Ohio Players,
wow,
right? Yeah. So I'm digging it. It's in the big, Tingley Auditorium in Albuquerque. And we ended up doing some more dates. And we did our sound check. And in the dressing room, this guy came up and I'm going, oh my God, man, that looks like Floyd Sneed, right? I thought, wait a minute, he isn't the, Ohio Players drummer. And he comes up and he goes, man, I could tell that you're a white boy all the way from the restrooms on the other side. And I said, really? And he says, yeah, but you swing, man. And I said, okay, that's good. And he says, just use your kick drum like you're kicking the horn section. And he says, you got it. Then you got it, right? And I thought, dude, this is Floyd Sneed, right?
yeah,
One of my guys, because wow, what about expression and groove, Um, so that was that. So that was an experience. But I got to say, the thing I love the most about that, well, besides the experience of it all, they were big audiences, right?
yeah.
But it was the three background singers.
Going back to your first Yes show, was it at the Johnson Gymnasium,
Yeah.
Albuquerque?
Uh-huh. And
The
that was very intimate, really.
April 8th, 1973.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't thought about Johnson Gym in a long time. Wow. Yeah. That was pretty intimate. I saw Free in Traffic there,
Wow.
and that was my first concert ever.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
What was it like, or who in Yes did you meet first? I mean, this is long before you joined.
Tony K.
Tony. Okay. And
Tony K.
then when did you meet Peter Banks, or how long after it was that?
Shortly after. I mean, I I finished this record that Tony was producing. He and Tommy and Joey asked me to join Badfinger.
Hmm.
At the same time, I was Tony had suggested they needed a drummer to host jams and all this different stuff that was going on at this club called the Central,
Hmm.
which is now the Viper Room. But back then it was the Central. It was owned and run by English roadies. And that was the most amazing place, the
Wow.
most amazing place, because it became the hangout and the jam nights for all the English folk and others that go and play Whiskey, Roxy, Universal City, whatever. They'd all stop in and we would jam. I mean, John Mayall, Robin
Wow.
Ford, Dudley Moore hung out all the time. There was Dean Murray from Elton's band. And I mean, Mark Craney, we jammed together on the same drum
Wow.
set. It was an amazing, amazing time. So uh, that that was something. That was definitely something. So back to your original question.
With the Peter Banks and the
Yes.
guys from Yes.
Yeah. So it was Peter. So we played and we also did some recording with Badfinger.
Hmm.
And
Are
while
are
at the
any of
while
those are any of those recordings you did with Badfinger available?
I'd have to check with Tony. There's been talk
Hmm.
about doing a release.
Yeah.
But as far as I know yet, I don't believe so. Um, but yeah, stay tuned on that, I guess.
Yeah.
But so that's why I brought up the Central, okay? Because that ended up introducing me to more Yes people, right? So I'm playing with Peter. So Chris and Allan, Trevor,
Wow.
they were all kind of hanging out.
Trevor Rabin or Horn?
Yeah, Raven.
Okay, Rabin.
Yeah, they were all hanging out because 90125 was, you know, something that was going to be popping at some point. And so they were in the club. So it turned into a jam,
Oh
right?
wow.
And so I was, I had done, my part, so to speak. So I was
Yeah.
going to go have some drinks and just relax a little bit and just do whatever. And I'm 20, just turned 21, I think. And I guess they were calling for me, but I didn't hear them because I was busy doing something else. And all of a sudden, the door opens up to the back room and it's filled with this gentleman, right? And it was Chris Squire,
Yeah.
right? So he comes up and he goes, Squire, because he called me Young Squire, right? Young Squire, you're needed on stage. Boom, and he throws me over his shoulder. And we marched out and dropped me on the stage. And I proceeded to do, the rest of the jam night, so to speak, with folks. So there was my meeting with Chris and Allan, of course, just laughing the whole way.
Yeah.
Tony was there. Peter was there.
Wow.
And it kind of progressed from there because uh, I was hanging with Tony quite a bit. I went to do some sessions in Florida with him. Rick Wakeman was out
Wow.
there, um, and stuff like that. So I was just kind of always just around this. And John Anderson would come into town, and he and Tony had a meeting to do, and this, that, and whatnot. So I kind of got introduced um, to John's kids and kind of looked after him there for kind of thing. So I was just this young guy.
Yeah.
So there I met John, and later I worked with John at the Rock Vault when he came out there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had a nickname, Thundersticks, that our buddy Malcolm gave me and everything. And when he saw me, he goes, Thundersticks. You know, and it was like, right, right, yeah. Yeah. Um, and Jeff Downs, I
Oh,
was worked with him in Asia,
yeah.
and of course Billy, you know,
Yeah.
probably since 93, somewhere around there, maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, we've just been doing so much different things together. Let's see who else is in there but to finally work with Steve
Yeah.
was very special. Very special. That was like, wow, wow. Because when those songs go down, um, that's the ingredient. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the ingredient that takes you into that classic Yes world. So I think it's important for us as the musicians is to represent that very well so that that picture that Steve is providing with that authenticity and just the real deal, right? We have to try and be there as well. But at the
Yeah.
same time, express ourselves because that was the one thing I loved about Bill
Hmm.
Bruford was he was kind of a jazz drummer and in his mind, being spontaneous in
Yeah.
composition and feeling a moment and going ahead and feeling expressive enough to go ahead and do something with it. So it's interesting. Our shows, you won't get the same exact show in a row,
Yeah.
if ever. Sometimes they are uniquely unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I got to put that out there because that's a reason to kind of check it out.
Hmm.
You may see something very special.
My next question is, where were you during the time of 90125? Did you have anything to do with Yes, like right after that record came out?
No, actually, my involvement was prior to that record, but not actually direct involvement. It was with
Mhm.
my friendship with Tony. We were in Badfinger together.
Yeah.
So that was when we had finished our record, Badfinger, and Tony was going over to work on 90125, right? And that's when I joined up with Danny Johnson and the Bandits
Mm.
because we were going to go out and support ZZ Top, right? Big tour, man.
Yeah.
Eliminator. Oh, man. So much fun. So I ended up in Louisiana and he's over there. And he called and let me know that Tommy, you know, had killed himself.
Yeah.
So it was a very, very sad thing. And then he mailed me some cassettes, right? And he said, "This, keep this to yourself. You know, this is what we're working on, right?" And they were demos before John came back,
Wow.
right? So Trevor was singing, and it was really good. It was really good. His band Rabbit, right?
Yeah.
It was a little rock, man. There was like some rock stuff, but all the classic stuff for It Can Happen and all that was all worked out. But it was so cool to hear it in the demo version, right?
Yeah.
Um, Still, Trevor Horn was there, but they hadn't, put the final deal to it. So that's when I started understanding what was happening over there, you know. And Tony came back, and we were talking about, will there be any kind of a Badfinger, kind of situation?
Hmm.
And I came back from that tour, and it just seemed that a lot of time was going to be needed to pass. And Tony was, starting to warm up to this Yes thing, you
Hmm.
know. So we would run into each other at SIR, this and that kind of thing, because at that point Hurricane was kind of starting to take shape. I was working with Lita Ford and Stone Fury, which later became Kingdom Come and
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Um, so I'd show up at SIR and just hang out, right? And he'd be programming his keyboards and stuff. The record came out, and I remember when we were at the Rainbow, hanging out with him and his uh, wife at the time, Denise. And he said, "Do you realize that I'm a millionaire on paper?" And I said, "On paper?" And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "I think this record's going to really do well, you know?" Um, so that's about it. And then a string of parties at his Hollywood house above the Hollywood Bowl
Wow.
began. And that was a lot of fun. That's where Allan and I really got to sit down and talk a lot, you know, during that time. And so, yeah, I ended up getting invited, to go on shows, the Union tour, this, that, blah, blah, you know. But I thought the record was fantastic, um, amazing, actually. I thought just the perfect combination. I mean, of course, you got Owner of a Lonely Heart, but
Yeah.
Hearts and It Can Happen and all that stuff, that I had heard different versions of.
Hmm.
Oh my God, just such a great record, an amazing record. Yeah.
How did you guys form Hurricane? How did you guys first meet each other?
Well, I was uh, playing with Lita Ford,
Hmm.
right? And I was being asked by Lenny to join Kingdom Come, right? And Lita's uh, road manager, Gary Ballin, said, you know, you should really check this thing out. I said that, it's unique. And it's the brothers of the guys in Quiet Riot
Yeah.
on opposite instruments. And I said, wow, that's interesting. He says, and it's got a world-class singer. And I said, ew, that sounds really good. So we just went and had a rehearsal, and we ended up writing. Uh, I wrote all the lyrics and the chorus for a song that night for "It's Only Heaven," and uh, I laid out the groundwork of "Take What You Want," all in the first rehearsal. So it was, or audition. I don't know what you want to call it, just a bash. So it was clear that there was something going on there, and it was good. So I turned down Kingdom Come and
Wow.
Leaders thing, and I just jumped in on that. It's kind of my band. So
Yeah.
we're all together, one for all for one. Can't beat it.
Yeah. And then, of course, after Hurricane, you joined Jeff Downes in the final lineup of Asia before the band reunited. How did you first get introduced to Jeff and join Asia?
Well, can I take you roll back just a little bit?
Yeah.
There were several other bands in the middle of all that,
Yeah.
right? One that I think is of note is Unruly Child,
Hmm.
right? Mm. That is a scrumptious band. I mean, man, songwriting, Bruce Gowdy, Guy Allison, Marcy Free, right? Wow. Fantastic band. Larry Antonino, bass player. Great, 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 great. Anyway, so that's a bit of a highlight in some ways too, because I love that music so much. Um, so I was working with Billy, um, and uh, Jeff and John Payne asked Billy to um, look at a couple songs, write a couple songs together with them, kind of thing. So I cut drums on it, and we were all in the studio hanging out and that kind of thing. And I guess the guys heard something that they liked. And it's funny, I still have the email on my phone from
Wow.
Jeff. I still have it. Listen, fancy a bash, right? We're thinking 12 o'clock tomorrow at Mates, right? So I said, yeah, let's do it. So I just, went over there, set up, and we played. It was great. It was fun, you know. They liked the American sound, kind of thing.
Mhm.
A little jazzy, but a little, you know. Um, and that evening at BJ's restaurant, they asked me to join them.
Wow.
So there you go. That's when I did that. And that was a lot of fun. Touring with Dio, Uriah
Yeah.
Heep, and all that. Yeah, it was great.
And then you guys recorded an album too. And then the band split up when the original Asia reunited and you guys did GPS.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah, so there is a live record out, live from Scandia, I think it's called something like that, which is really good. Wow, it really sounds great. Um, and yeah, so GPS was kind of the continuation
Yeah.
of, Guthrie, John, and myself, and we got Rio, which was just a lot of fun. Boy, he's he's an amazing cat. I mean, he literally just came in and played the music while recorded while he heard it for the first time.
Yeah.
He just seemed to know exactly where everything was going to go.
Wow.
Amazing. It was really amazing. We were just, if you look at some of those pictures on the record,
Hmm.
that was from that session where we're all just
Oh,
going, you know, yeah. Um, yeah, so that was that. And so GPS continued on for a bit, and then it became Asia featuring John Payne.
hmm.
And then um, the whole rock vault thing started,
Yes.
and that turned into something that originally was just a pilot that we were going to film at the Mayan Theater, and all of his buddies were back together. I mean, it was great. Robin McCauley, Howard Leese, Tracy Guns. You know what I mean? All just it was really just a lot of fun. So it was really just a blast for us.
Hmm.
You know, um, so we did this pilot, and in costume the whole bit because it has a whole
Yeah.
thing to it. And in 2 months, Harry Cowell informed us, "Pack your bags. We're going to Vegas."
Wow.
And I was there about 7 years. So yeah, and
So you
then
were in that for 7 years while you were also in the John Payne Asia?
no, no, that kind of came to a halt.
Hmm.
Um, at that time, we were rock vault, and then after 3 years, yeah, I guess 4 years if you count the pilot. That's when Allan called me
Hmm.
to join the band. So I was in
Yeah.
rock vault and Yes for a period.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
What was it like doing the first tour with, yes, the topographic drama tour, and of course, substituting for Allan?
Well, I had substitute for Allan before in Circa,
Mhm. Yes.
and
Yeah.
stuff. Um, so we were familiar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I suppose the next logical question is, what was it like to be working with Allan when the two of us got together?
Yes. Yes.
That's the it's it's amazing, and that doesn't even come close. As a Yes fan, as an Allan fan from that Phil in Instant Karma, right? Um, Getting to know him, in a personal way, bumping into each other and all that, and then now we're gonna play together, and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just so easy peasy. It was the same as just being friends. And my mind is whatever you need, whatever you
Yeah.
need. And just those years are the most special, really, that I will never forget. All the stuff that I learned, not only musically, but just from his life
Hmm.
lessons, the things he's done, accomplished, and how he's gone about that. And you know priceless, just priceless stuff. And the those the moments that go by so fast, and then
Hmm.
you look back on them and they were just like crazy. because he would sit right behind me on my left side.
Hmm.
And so I'd be playing these songs and stuff, and he'd have his hat on, and I would improvise something. And I'd look back at him, and sometimes he'd pull his hat down, and I go, okay, all right then. And sometimes he'd have his hat up, and I'd look back over there, and he'd just go, yeah, that was great. So we had this thing, and with JW, our John Walsh, our tech, this little trio. It was like the Three Stooges going on back here while we were doing the show. It was amazing. It was just so amazing.
And what was it like doing the 50th anniversary tour, of course, with
Mm,
Tony K?
brilliant, just brilliant. I'd done some recording for Patrick and ran into him on some Asia
Mhm.
shows
Yeah.
as well. So it was really cool to see him and knock around that. But yeah, having Tony again with us, oh man, that was just the best thing ever. I mean, that just that brought everything just so full circle to me, and
Hmm.
it sounded great. It was a lot of fun. Trevor Horn came out,
Hmm.
Patrick. It was great. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Bill introduced us
Yeah.
at the in London.
Wow.
That was a moment. That was a moment because we were doing South Side of the Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, okay, man.
How close would you say Yes is to completing its next studio album?
It'll be out probably in the first, at the latest, the second quarter of next year.
Okay.
I'd say we're 85% there, pretty much. Maybe a little further along,
Yeah.
possibly. Yeah, it's great. Sounds really good. I think it's going to be exciting. It's gonna be a little different. Nothing crazy, but really expressive and melodic, and has all the hallmarks. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys plan to play any of that stuff live?
For this tour,
Yeah, or any tour.
come. Well, you can't say about any tour. This tour, no.
Okay.
But let's see. I think there's definitely songs on there that are worthy. It's that would be very good live. So it's all about the moment, like choosing um, the set list. It's so different than other groups, like let's say Foreigner,
Yeah.
where the set list year to year will change very slightly. But I mean, the block of hits is always there. Boom,
Yeah.
right? Um, yes is different. It flies all over the place. So every year we kind of retool, you know. So we just start our chats early. The songs are chosen. Steve has much to do about that
Hmm.
with our input as well. But he's the kind of master planner, and once we get that in mind, then all of our minds just start working on the presentation and how it's going to go and everything. And so we're kind of guided by that. And every time there's an album in its entirety thrown in, then the songs will change. You know what I mean? Because we have that as a stack. And then we just have our bits and bobs, which is where the
Hmm.
fun is. We can throw in some real curveballs,
Yeah.
which is fun. It's good. Yeah. It keeps it exciting.
What would you say is a memorable story, like the most memorable thing from your time, either with the guys from Yes or in Yes?
Wow. There's so many. I told you that the central Chris Squire story.
Yeah.
So that's one that I'll never forget. But I think, oh boy, what could that be? I might have to think about that just a little bit. But I mean, a lot of it, I think It might have been on that 50th anniversary tour.
Hmm.
You know, the the London Yes group, and then the East Coast Yes fans and
Yeah.
everything, right? They really really came out for that in a really special way, you know, and it made those shows really special, you know, with Tony there and all of that, and then Bill introducing us that time. So I guess I got to say, those were some very special moments for sure. But I think there's some special moments yet to come. To tell you the truth, I mean,
Hmm.
some really special ones because, like you said, there's still some fire left in the catalog, so to speak. You know, but I know I'll come up with another story, but I just can't. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That first tour, it's just I could just probably go on far too long. The travel shenanigans and hijinks are very memorable.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite venue that you played at? You know, you played at the Royal Albert Hall, famous venues
Mm,
like that, and of
mm.
course, really small venues too. But what would you say is your favorite?
Uh, Royal Albert Hall,
Hmm.
Roxbury, New York, in the round.
Yeah.
Um, I would kind of say those two. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But there's memorable shows all over. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
playing with well, I got to say, the Budweiser Arena in Toronto,
Hmm.
opening for Deep Purple. You
Yeah.
know, those were great. But as far as our shows, the Royal Albert Hall and Roxbury in New York is always special there in the round. Yeah.
Of course, you played with Deep Purple last year, and you played big amphitheaters. And now on this tour, of course, with Yes, it's more smaller venues. Would you say you enjoy playing to a bigger crowd, like opening up, or a smaller crowd and it's Yes headlining?
Uh, Both. I think the headlining allows us to present a more diverse show,
Hmm.
right? For Yes fans, for you guys, for all our, you know, great fans out there. I mean, they want to dive in deep into some, gnarly parts.
Yeah.
We can do that. Um, Opening or even teaming up with, where you're
Yeah.
sharing equally, it's going to be a shorter set. So you got to pack it in, right? You got to get those the hits in, the up numbers,
Yeah.
keep that energy going, give it a little release with some, beautiful duet or something. But then you got to keep it going.
Hmm.
But that's got its advantages too. It does. I mean, the band coming through a huge PA in an arena forum,
Hmm.
setup, powerful, really powerful. It's nice. It's nice to hear that engine rev, you
Yeah.
know. So I can dig it. I can dig it, and I hope we do a lot more. Deep Purple was great. Great, by the way. It was a perfect matchup.
Yeah.
We all got along so well, and the crews loved each other, and really hope to do that again someday.
Is Ian Pace, the drummer of Deep Purple, is he a big influence on you?
He's won. He's won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because Burn totally
Mhm.
burned me, man. I mean, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, wow. Yeah. His hands are beautiful. Just it's like big band.
Yeah.
He swings really good, and he's just got a drive time that is so good. But his hands are fast, really fast,
Yeah.
with a lot of swing.
And
He's
also
great.
on this tour and in previous tours, Roger Dean has been present.
Mhm.
Whose idea was it to bring Roger Dean on these tours?
Um, I would imagine it was Steve and our manager Martin Darvel,
Hmm.
and it makes perfect sense
Yeah.
because Roger really is, oh, a member of the group practically. Really, all those many years ago. I mean, the visuals just are synonymous with hearing the music. I mean, that's why we still love to put out vinyl
Yeah.
with Roger's artwork on it, because that's the way it's always been. You listen to the music and you look at the artwork, you know. So it's a spectacular works of art, and to have it along with us on the tour, and Roger, because he's such a really lovely guy, lots of fun. He's a great guy, and it makes perfect sense. It's a really really cool thing.
Yeah. The I'm gonna end it soon. The last word is yours. What would you like to share?
Oh well, that these shows that we perform, as I was saying, they can be very unique, not only from just the set list that's chosen, but the the spontaneity that still exists within the group. Um, the shows can be very different, and those are special moments that come out um, in particular times of inspiration. We kind of let it flow a little bit, and it's exciting to see. You know, in these days of production numbers and the sequencing, all these things like that. This is flesh and blood, and it's unique music that's produced by some very good musicians,
Yeah.
some spectacular musicians uh, that have existed within this group. And so I would say Yes is doing fantastic in 2025, and it's going to be fantastic many, many, many years beyond. And I encourage everybody to try and come see us if they get a chance to
Yeah.
on this tour and those tours forthcoming. And we love to see you because we love our fans. We love our fans.
Well, Jay, thank you. And some of us will see you when you guys come to Omaha in November.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I'll see you there. And I'm sure I know Billy was going to hook you up. And so,
Yeah.
you know, that's going to be great. So looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you.